I just woke up and it's snowing outside. And in looking outside at the snow, I had this chilling feeling inside of me. And it started to remind me of how, during this time of year, it's very easy to feel disconnected from the self, from loved ones, from so many different spaces and environments. And I wanted to jump in here and really talk about what to do when we feel disconnected from ourself, when we feel disconnected from our soul, when we feel disconnected from our spirit, and overall just the universe and the world around us. And I know for me, it felt like a maze or a labyrinth when I felt disconnected. It wasn't linear. It wasn't like, okay, I'm disconnected just from myself. As a multidimensional being, we oftentimes may feel disconnected from ourself, our purpose, our business, our friends, our family, our community, society. And although at times being disconnected from things like family or society or even the self may feel great, ultimately there's still going to be something inside of us when we feel disconnected from anything that has to do with the self or the identity, or as some people might call the ego, uh, in relation to the fact that that is also connected to our soul and our spirit, our soul being, our identity in this human experience, and the spirit being the transpersonal, multidimensional traveler slash seeker that's here. And when we are in these challenging times and experiencing all of these hurdles, especially with the self, um, I would love to provide you with just a way to navigate into the abundant ocean, so that we can rejuvenate ourselves and our souls and our spirit and just really get back into spiritual alignment. And first, I'm going to go over and just normalize some things. I really want to normalize the fact that there are going to be days where you may feel alone or lost or confused or abandoned. And ultimately, in many cases for myself, there were times where I felt so disconnected from myself that I didn't even know myself anymore. And I'm talking about the past self, the present self, and the future self. I have reached many points in my life where the past version of me either brought along or brought up a lot of shame or guilt. In many cases, I was disgusted by my past self because of the things I did or the things I didn't do. And this is the inner child. This is the inner teen. This is the adult. And then when we fast forward to the present self feeling disconnected from my present self brings up oftentimes these emotions of just not even knowing who I am, if I'm doing what I really want to do, if I'm on track to my higher self, because in the personal development world and spiritual communities, it's often about, being in line with your higher self, your happiest self, and I feel it's really easy to get caught up and feeling like we don't even know who that future version of ourselves is. And the truth is, in many cases, the higher self and the future self is a stranger. My future self oftentimes, and can happen in the future, is a stranger to me. I don't even know who my future self is or what my future self is going to be doing. I like to think that I know. I like to feel that I'm doing things that are bringing me in alignment with that version of myself. But the truth is, part of my future self is still a stranger. And this is where the spirit comes in, because the spirit just knows. So when we feel disconnected from our spirit, it's as if we don't know who we're becoming or who we want to become. Yet when we are connected to our spirit, we just know. We know we're on the path. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happening. We're quantum leaping. We're just doing things because it feels in alignment. We're not bypassing anything. We're not trapped in our ego. We're experiencing moments when our soul is just being so. Our soul, we're not thinking. We're meditating, whether it be sitting down and meditating or lying down and listening to something like a podcast, like my podcast, or some type of music, journaling, being in nature, whatever meditation is for you, going deeper within. And again, these are the things that bring us back into that abundant ocean. These are the things that bring us back into spiritual alignment. And when we feel these moments of empowerment from the self, it's amazing. And we also get to experience feeling empowered and inspired by others. In some of my darkest moments, there are books and podcasts and movies and TV shows where something was said that was most likely written first from someone's soul that just reignited the spark within me. Especially like the Disney movie Soul, that just reignited something in me to reconnect to my own soul because I had reached a point where I didn't know who I was, especially after leaving the military. I know it's very easy for us to transition from career or job or life experience. And when we have these new things where we get a new job or we're meeting someone new and dating and the relationship is getting serious or we move somewhere new, it's very easy to lose track of ourselves, to hope, to just not know. And these are the unknowns. There's magic in the unknowns. And we are disconnected, there is still magic in the unknown. When we are disconnected from ourself, our soul, our spirit, from the universe, there is still magic in the unknown, just as much as there is in the known. When we know, when we understand and understand that that magic still exists, we allow ourselves to actually nurture ourselves even more, to have more compassion for ourselves in the moments where we feel low, lower vibration, lower frequency, different vibration, not our happiest and highest self, which is okay because that spiritual essence that is who we are is there. And as we start to develop and cultivate and honor and practice more self-awareness by just looking at the spiritual essence, it begins to take shape. It begins to take shape in the form of love. It begins to take shape in the form of authenticity. Love being this deep aspect within us where love is the only thing that ever is, was, and will ever be that transcends time and space. And authenticity being who we truly are at our core, the unshakable, unfuckwittable, undeniable presence of being you, simply being the self. And in those moments where I was able to just simply be myself, my identity, my ego, as some people might say, I realized true joy because I was experiencing authentic joy. My inner child was okay with being disconnected. Inner teen was okay with being disconnected. My inner adult was okay with being disconnected because in accepting the fact that I was disconnected, it allowed me to really get to the root cause of what the thing was. You know, if I was feeling disconnected because a lack of identity or I didn't know what I was doing, I got to sit with myself and be like, it's okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, I don't always know what I'm doing. No one knows what the future holds. The future is not even promised. And yet here I am, sitting down or standing or lost or in isolation, all still going within. Disconnection is still a part of connection. When I am disconnected, I am allowing myself to understand that I am disconnected for a reason. And there's always a lesson in the disconnection, lessons that I get to share, lessons that you may also share when you feel ready to share. And then you could think, am I ever ready? No, we're never ready to share. We're never ready for anything. All that happens is the self, the soul, and the spirit are like, just do it. Like just start doing the thing, which is what happened this morning. I woke up, I felt inspired to just record an episode, to share my experience of being disconnected. Because in my past, I have had many moments where I felt alone, I felt lost, I felt confused, I felt abandoned. I have also had moments where I felt like I just didn't want to be here anymore. Not that I wanted to take my own life, but that I expected it to happen. And in a sense, I was almost trying to manifest it. I'm like, if something happens to me, then so be it. Yet there was an a trailing thought after that in the subconscious, then so be it, because I deserve it. And when I realized that I was telling myself I deserved not to be here, that's when I realized the true root of my disconnection, feeling like I didn't deserve to be here. And the thing that inspired me was realizing that every morning that I wake up, that I breathe, that my heart beats, that my mind is thinking, that life is lifing, is a reason to be grateful, to be alive, because I'm experiencing more of the human experience. My soul is learning and understanding and understanding more about what it means to be. Then I remember just sharing where I was lost and disconnected in my journey, and that inspiring people online. I didn't have to have it all figured out. I just got to be relatable in a way where, because others felt the same things, because they felt the same things, they understood they weren't alone. And it's great to know that we're not alone in this world, on this floating rock, or however you see it all. It's great to know that it's okay to be lost. It's great to know that confusion is just a momentary thing of the mind. It's great to know that we're never really abandoned unless we're abandoned from the self. And if we choose not to be abandoned from ourselves, if we choose to not always see the future self or the present self or the past self as a stranger, and to just accept that this is who I am, and who I am is evolving. It's not just this is who I am. Don't bypass. Understand that this is who I am right now. I may not be where I would like to be yet, and I'm still committed to being connected and disconnected. So I hope this message lands for you. I really hope that what I'm putting down is being picked up, or a seed has been planted in your mind where your self, your soul, your spirit is like, this is going to make sense soon. This is going to blossom at some point. And if it doesn't, that's also okay. I don't know everything. But what I do know is my spirit guided me to share something about disconnection. And in me sharing about being disconnected, it allowed me to connect more with myself just by hearing myself talk. I really invite you all to either journal and then speak aloud what you've just journaled, or just speak aloud the things you are feeling, especially when disconnected. Say that you are disconnected. Acknowledge the fact that you are disconnected. Acknowledge when you feel lost or confused or abandoned or in isolation, just as much as you get to acknowledge when you feel like you've refound yourself, like you've found and reconnected with the seeker within. When your mind is not as confused and things feel more clear. Like really, really let that land. And if there's any last thing I get to leave this episode with as a final lesson, is just realizing that, every problem we have in life isn't really a problem. It's a temporary emotion that passes with time and courage. Any problem we've ever had eventually passes, like that specific problem. Like no exact problem persists, because the problem evolves. It either evolves or it, degrades and goes away, and then just shows itself up, and we get to deal with it again with more compassion and more love and more understanding of why it even exists. And even if we think we fully, uprooted it all, it's still going to show up in some way, shape, or form, and that's okay. Just remember that every problem is not really a problem. It's just a temporary emotion that's going to go away with time and courage. Have the courage to acknowledge the problem. Have the courage to sit with the problem. Whether you, again, decide to journal out and read it aloud, have tea with your problems, talk to someone else about the problem. Because in doing so, the problem then shifts into the emotion, and the emotion changes when you focus on your breath. So we are going to breathe together in this moment. And I'm going to count down from 10 to 0. So if you would like to close your eyes, you're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Holding it at the top, reprogramming your nervous system to just release a little bit of the feeling of being lost. Audible exhale, exhale. Deep breath in, holding it at the top, allowing yourself to just release a little more of being lost, even if it's only 1%. Audible exhale, exhale. Deep breath in. This is 8, holding it at the top, allowing yourself to acknowledge the fact that we don't always have to know where we are. Audible exhale, exhale. 7, breathing in, holding it at the top, just letting joy and love and happiness flow in through your veins, moving through your heart. Audible exhale, exhale. 6, deep breath in, holding it at the top, realizing that in disconnection, you are also still connected to yourself, to your soul and your spirit. Audible exhale, exhale. These last 5, just going to be normal breaths. Every time you breathe in fresh air, breathe in sunlight, breathe in moonlight. Just breathe in. And when you exhale, just breathe out and release. You can release the things that no longer serve you. So we're going to go breathe in and audible exhale. 5, breathing in and audible exhale. 4, breathing in and audible exhale. 3, breathing in, holding this at the top and audible exhale. 2, breathing in, holding it at the top. Keep holding it. Keep holding that breath. Allow that breath to fill you up and remind you that you are alive. Like today is a great day to be alive. Audible exhale. And 0. 0, the beginning. 0, half of the infinity symbol. When we are at 0, there's a whole nother side. 0 replicates itself to form the infinity symbol. Allow yourself to be in the abundance of knowing that in disconnection, you're always connected to yourself, your soul, your spirit, and the universe. You are never alone. I wish you much, much joy and fun in your lessons. In unity and abundance, this is Kadara. Take care, seekers. Take care, seekers. You got this.